This PodFast is a summary of a conversation between Donald Trump and Kyle Forgerd of Full Send Podcast. In this conversation, they discuss the threat of World War III, green energy, Kim Jong Un, the media, and Trump's dabbling with music. Here are 6 key takeaways from Donald Trump on Full Send. Key takeaway number 1. Nuclear weapons are incredibly dangerous. We must denuclearize. Former President Donald Trump reveals that he had meaningful conversations with world leaders, such as Vladimir Putin, about working together to reduce and potentially eliminate nuclear weapons, as he believes that a World War III scenario would be unimaginably more destructive than previous wars due to advanced weaponry. To help illustrate the sheer power of nuclear weapons, examples from the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are discussed. The heat generated during these bombings was so intense that it melted granite, a very hard rock, and instantly vaporized people who were near the blast. This demonstrates the catastrophic consequences that nuclear weapons can have on both human lives and the environment. Trump also emphasizes the importance of engaging in dialogues with other countries to create a safer world. He believes that his relationship with Putin could have prevented conflicts like the Ukraine crisis and worked towards a more peaceful coexistence between nations. Trump stresses the need for people to be more aware of the looming threat posed by nuclear weapons and encourages the radical left and other political groups to address this issue. His ultimate goal is to reach a level of global safety and peace that has never been seen before, which can only be achieved by working together to denuclearize the world. In Trump's words, World War III is one madman away. Key takeaway number 2. The U.S. is low on guns and needs to build up its defensive position. Donald Trump talks about the vulnerability of the United States and the danger posed by other countries using the N-word, meaning nuclear weapons. Countries are not just talking about nuclear weapons, they have access to them. Trump believes the U.S. is currently very vulnerable because they have given away a lot of ammunition to countries like Ukraine. It's important that the U.S. build up its ammunition stockpiles to restore its defensive position to what it was under Trump's leadership, in which we were loaded to the gills. Trump also discusses the situations in Taiwan and Ukraine, claiming that these problems didn't exist just 3 years ago. He says that leaders like Putin and President Xi of China wouldn't have considered invading Ukraine or causing problems in Taiwan if the U.S. hadn't shown incompetence, such as in the way they left Afghanistan. According to Trump, the withdrawal from Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan was a mistake, as China is now slowly taking over the base. He believes this embarrassing moment in U.S. history made other countries think the U.S. is incompetent, leading to conflicts like the one in Ukraine. Key takeaway number 3. So-called green energy is more harmful to the environment and economy than you think. People used to talk about global warming, and now they're talking about climate change. But in reality, nobody knows for sure if Earth is going to get warmer, cooler, or if the ocean is going to rise by 1/100th of an inch in the next 350 years. People believe we should prevent climate change by producing green energy and electric cars, but green energy is expensive and causes inflation. Not only that, but windmills are not a good solution, as they can become rusty and abandoned, making some areas, like Coachella Valley, look like junkyards. Additionally, Trump points out that disposing of old windmill blades is difficult because burying them is harmful to the environment. Solar power, according to Trump, isn't strong enough to meet our needs. There's a strong push for electric cars that rely on batteries made from materials mostly found in China and other places outside the United States. Besides, not everyone wants to drive a car that can only go for an hour and a half before needing to recharge. People might prefer driving for longer periods and refueling with inexpensive gasoline, which can be obtained easily since the United States has the greatest amount of oil and gas, or liquid gold as Trump calls it, in the world. He believes that people who support these green energy solutions may hate the country because they're promoting solutions that don't prioritize American resources. Key takeaway number 4. Freedom of the press is a thing of the past. The press used to be printed on paper. Not anymore. The press is now YouTube content creators like Kyle Forgerd and other people. And they are no longer free, which means there's no freedom of press. Steve Will Do It, another member of NELK Boys, who was on the last podcast, got canceled from YouTube for violating community guidelines. If he's even shown on camera on Kyle's Full Send Podcast channel or NELK, YouTube will delete their entire channels. Last time Trump was on Full Send Podcast, which set a new viewership record for the NELK Boys, was removed from YouTube for supposedly violating its policy on misinformation. This was unthinkable before. Trump believes it's because people like him are being targeted for protecting the people. Key takeaway number 5. Kim Jong Un is a very smart man. Kim Jong Un is a mysterious, largely unknown figure to many, but Donald Trump says he knows him quite well. Trump describes Kim Jong Un as very smart, cunning, and ruthless. Even though he inherited North Korea at the age of 23, Kim took control of armies, generals, and the energetic North Korean people, showing his intelligence and ability to lead. Trump believes that if Obama had stayed in office, or if Hillary Clinton had become president, there might have been a nuclear war with North Korea. He and Kim Jong Un had a rough start, calling each other names like Little Rocket Man. During this period, Kim made threatening implications like, "I have a red button on my desk that has very big power," to which Trump would respond with, "I have a much bigger button than you do, and mine works." The two leaders eventually met and were able to get along better. During a meeting, Trump introduced Kim to Elton John's song Rocket Man, which Kim had never heard before. Trump even gave Kim a vinyl record of the song, but made sure to remove the Made in South Korea label first. When Trump praises Kim's intelligence, the media often criticizes him, but he stands by his opinion. Key takeaway number 6. Trump tops the charts with a hit song. Donald Trump claims he's great at making number ones. At one point, he was the host on The Apprentice on NBC. That went to number 1. He also considers to have done great in real estate as well as in politics. The only thing he hadn't tried being great at was music. Trump wanted to hit number 1 on the charts, much like Elvis Presley. A group of men who were convicted after their participation in the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, put together a band called the J6 Prison Choir. They asked Trump if he would do a voiceover of the Pledge of Allegiance, to which he agreed. Justice for All, as it's called, reached the top of the charts on Billboard and iTunes. According to Trump, the song was taken down by an unnamed group of people that were upset it made the charts, but put back up after an appeal. The song went to number 1 again. It is unclear whether Trump will do a follow-up song for the upcoming rallies. Thank you for listening to this PodFast summary of the conversation between Donald Trump and Kyle Forgert on Full Send Podcast. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. See you next time.